I had my little iPhone with a little, Amazon tripod
It only took 4 years for us to have this conversation.
of creating something special, but also making money at the same time. Because without money, we just can't survive.
He froze,
Hmm.
like in the most spectacular way I ever seen anybody freeze it.
You're hanging out with the crew of Dimelo305, and this is a long-awaited conversation that needed to happen. So happy to sit down with, business partner, brother, friend, Ariel.
Wow, Fred,
What's up, man?
that's very big. Well, it only took 4 years for us to have this conversation.
Only took 4 years,
Only
man.
4 years and 3 more, so I guess 7 in the making.
It's a long time coming.
Oh, okay.
Long time coming. I want to talk a little bit about from the beginning to what has transpired from the business perspective. That I think a lot of people only see us in certain spaces, whether it's as a brand, as a production company. But I want to kind of dig into the business parts of what we do.
Okay.
I want to talk about the nonprofit that's being launched, the new business that we're launching, and a little bit about the team and how to create a scalable business, because more and more I've been seeing other businesses and they're not scalable.
Scalable, that's a big word.
So I want to talk about a lot of things today, if that's okay with you.
Got it.
So first and foremost, tell me, let's get into it, about the beginning of Dimelo305. This is a question that we get often anytime we meet someone new. They always ask us, how did this thing come about?
It's interesting because I think Dimelo305 came about the frustration of creation. We were actually doing another project before Dimelo305, and in that project we learned things like the utilization of studios. We did big budget filmings, and in reality right now with Instagram, YouTube, and all of that stuff, does that really matter? That was kind of like the question. I mean, we see people creating content with their phones. We see people just sitting down, set up a mic, and that's pretty much it. There's no need for studios. There's no need for that. And again, because of my background, I'm more leaning towards, big productions. Because of your background, you're more leaning towards, YouTube Live, which is the type of stuff that you were doing. So when we married the two, we created this other project, and it wasn't a flop. But I think we started identifying how expensive it is to create something like that. And I think Dimelo305 was the starting point of like, let's throw everything out the window and let's start from scratch.
There's a word that you use very often, and it's the word produce. And I think oftentimes people think they know what you mean, but I'm not sure if they do. How do you define the word produce?
Produce is the creation of the illusion, I guess. It's kind of, that's what it is. It doesn't matter what's outside of the camera. What matters is what the camera shows. So for example, right now we could be in a boat looking at the ocean, but you don't really know because you don't see, what's in front of us. So what we're producing is we're two people sitting on a desk with two microphones in the backdrop, and that's it. That's the production. Like, you pretty much generate, which is why I love production, because you get to generate things that normally wouldn't be there.
How did we meet, Ariel? It's another question that we oftentimes get.
How do we meet Ariel? You keep making fun of me for this because it kind of like the only sentence you remember of when we met
Weekends, baby.
was, I have fun on the weekends. I just remember walking into this space and I saw you, and you were not threatening. You were very welcoming. You were like, you didn't look down to people, which you could, because even at that point, you're a person that I respected from the moment I met you, because I'm always fascinated with people who can articulate, who actually have knowledge in their heads. The one part I do not appreciate is that you can recite any freaking book, page, and everything.
I used to.
Okay, because you can't fight with that. But
Well, I remember that we met in, it was at an apartment. We were doing a show talking about Nicaragua and the politics that was happening at the time, and still I guess is continuing. But you came in. I had my little iPhone with a little, Amazon tripod, and you came in with this fancy camera equipment and a gimbal. I didn't know what that was at the time. And little did I know that would end up leading to you investing in the show that I was doing. You put down at least $5,000 for the first filming, and then the next filming we were able to gather funds. And I had not really thought about business. That was not what I cared about. I remember saying I don't care about money. And I had an awakening with you once I was going towards graduation, and I was like, okay, like I remember us sitting down and saying, this show or this thing that we're doing on social media needs to provide us with $15,000 a month.
I remember like you looking at me like, how are we gonna generate
How?
15,000? Like that,
Yeah.
that doesn't even exist. But because of my background, I guess I always had to have this mentality of, and this has been like a life philosophy. I want to work on things that I care about. But in order for those things to work, they need to sustain themselves in order for me to be able to, provide for my family and do things that I want to do.
What made you want to be my business partner?
I think it goes back with the genuine person that you are. You don't portray what you're not, and that's something very hard to find in this world and in reality. And you don't take advantage of anything. You're very respectful. You're very humble. Well, I don't know, humble. We have to define humble, but you're not the type of person that takes advantage of anybody. And again, that your mind is just so wonderful. I started reading more because of you, yet I can't keep up with you. But there are things like, when I hear you play, when I hear play the instruments and all of that stuff, all of that means something.
Yeah.
And at that time, again, I didn't know this was going to turn into what it is today. In that time, I was just, again, you work with people that you want to work with. That's another thing. I think that has been something that has been implemented within our own team,
Yeah.
that we don't just hire people, we hire people that we like. And if they know their craft or not know their craft, that's something that we can go in after.
I want to be your business partner because I remember you would come over to my little hood apartment in Sweetwater. Shout out to Terra Nova. And you would tell me things like, oh, I just invested in this with property, and you were having like conversations that I wasn't accustomed to. You were talking about big money, like hundreds of thousands of dollars, um and you would tell me, you introduced me to cigars, and you would tell me that cigars isn't just about cigars, it's also
I
about.
don't like the fact that you always
You
make sure.
introduced me to
Okay,
it.
like,
You introduced me to it. I decided to continue it, but you would tell me like, okay, there's a reason for this. You can meet people in these spaces, and I'm like, okay. With you, there was always like this kind of like intentionality to things. You would tell me just because you have a PhD doesn't mean you have to tell everybody you have a PhD. Sometimes that works against you. So you really kind of taught me how to apply a business mindset and kind of hone in on my skills for the purposes of creating something special, but also making money at the same time. Because without money, we just can't survive.
yeah, and again, it's funny because it goes back to the same thing. Like how do you present yourself? How do you act in front of people? Where are you? And all of that stuff is very hard for people who are starting out to grasp of the importance of it. And like you just said, like not many people even know what I do or
Yeah.
or my trajectory or anything like that, because it's not something that I really share, because it's not important to what I'm doing.
Yeah. Um, Everyone likes to know how we met Hector. Hector has been an integral part of our growth, development, of the brand. He's a great representative of the brand. How do we meet Hector?
Well, you brought him on board. All I remember was him, like everybody else, commenting cocky and saying, I can do this. It's very easy. I have no issues. I'm like, okay. And I remember we were at the 5K in Doral, like one of those
Oh, he could talk on the mic. I
5,
remember.
5 a.m. call after 12 p.m. something
It was
the day before.
Wild night.
And I remember, like, I was like, okay, cool. Like, I'll be like, okay, I'm your cameraman, and here's a mic. I mean, you can do it. These are the questions. Go try it out. He froze, like in the most spectacular way I ever seen anybody freezing. And then he just gave me the mic. He said, no, I can't. I'm like, okay. So we started at the point of humbleness. Like, we can work with this, And he was, again, his energy is through the roof. He's a likable person. He's another genuine person. And from there on, I think we prefer when people tell us I can't do this, but I also mean I'm not gonna try. And what I value the most is people trying. And the fact that he got with the mic, and he tried it a couple of times and was like, this is just not my thing. This is like, I thought it was easier. Like, it's funny because when you see somebody doing it that knows what they're doing, it seems simple. But I also mean it's simple. That just means that's a lot of work behind it.
A lot of work behind it. Yep.